Hello, my name is Carol Lampman, and I work with the breath. I'm the creator and developer of the Integrative Breath Therapy Training Program, or IBT as it's better known these days. The reason we're here is to introduce you to Heather Arena, one of our IBT teachers. And Heather, will you tell us a little bit about yourself as an educator, as a teacher, and a therapist?
Thank you so much for having me here, Carol. It is truly a pleasure to be with you and talk about IBT to the world. And what really ignited my passion to become a teacher and guide others on this path, especially with integral breath therapy, goes back to my own journey. I studied psychology in college, and having the opportunity to see a therapist myself was incredibly supportive. It really sparked a fire in me to help other people. However, in the process, I realized something important was missing for me, and that was the need to integrate my thoughts with my physical experience. And that's exactly what drew me to IBT and why I'm so passionate about teaching it. It's the diversity within IBT, how it beautifully combines psychological insights and understanding with somatic techniques simply by using one's breath. This approach is incredibly empowering and truly transformative. By using IBT myself and then offering this work and teaching it to others, I feel like I'm doing my part to support humanity in a truly profound way, which is so important for me in my path. Which leads me to want to ask you, Carol, what first inspired your journey into breath work and what led you to develop the unique approach of integral breath therapy? And could you share some of the experiences that shape the specific modalities and principles within IBT?
This is a question I receive quite often is how did this all happen? First of all, the IBT model evolved out of my own healing process. I was very tied up in knots. I didn't realize it at the time, but my migraine headaches was caused by the amount of repression I had in my body, keeping away memories that were way too painful for the child to remember. So as I began with talk therapy, that's where many people start these days. And eventually, after doing some somatic work, I found the Reichian work, which is all about the fact that we're energetic beings and the breath moves our energy or holds it back. So this was a really important step for me because I learned that I was contracted, and if I wanted to make a change, I was going to have to let go. Not an easy thing for me, that's for sure. However, that led me into more breath work because the Reichians use the breath. And then I did some training in rebirthing. And I actually trained to be a trainer in rebirthing. But I don't do rebirthing in the same way. Even rebirthers don't do rebirthing in the same way. Breath is everywhere, and it's such an important aspect to us because it's something we all have in common. So when I took my training, I felt I still had unanswered questions. So I took breathwork training everywhere. I bought every book on the market about the breath, and I was constantly breathing on my own. What I realized is that breath is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious mind. Breath is what fuels our body and moves the energy for us. The body was a very important first step for me. And then, of course, I did some work with hypnosis, and that helped me to focus in on more about belief systems and changing my mind. And changing my mind did change my life. And then emotions. The emotions are energy and motion. So that tied back into my Reichian work. And not everybody wanted to work with emotions. Many therapists refer their clients to me for the quote emotional work. That was a great pleasure because that was where I was most stuck, and I certainly understood how to go on the journey with someone who had difficulties feeling. And of course, I was always a spiritual seeker, so breath and spirit are one and the same in many languages. We don't have to do much of that because it sort of takes care of itself. If we're breathing, spirit is moving through us at all times. And we work with the concept of the inner healer. Stan Grof coined the term from Stan Grof. There's a part in us that knows exactly what needs to do to heal. And if we will just surrender to that and allow that to take place, magic and miracles happen. And for me, it totally and completely changed my life. In fact, it saved my life. I would be like one person, like a vehicle with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. How long would it last? Not long. So and I'm still here, still breathing. And as we uh, as we get older, it doesn't mean that everything stops. We still have changes and we have to adjust to what's happening in the world and to our families and to our bodies. So it continues to be a source of inspiration for me. And I breathe a little bit every day and often for much longer than a little bit. And I use it as a tool. And this is something that our teachers teach to their clients or to their students if they work with groups how to use this breath to manage their stress and to ask for what they want and need. And it really makes a difference because what you need to work on will walk in the door. So whatever your most difficult person is, that's a mirror reflecting to you what you need to do for yourself. So, Heather, tell us about your first early experiences with the breath and why you decided to dedicate your time and energy into teaching and working with integral breath therapy.
Well, my very first encounter with breathwork, Carol, was back in 2002 during a yoga class. And in this class, my teacher mentioned breathing distortions and specifically reverse breathing. And it was a complete revelation to me that my body wasn't breathing correctly and that this could actually be leading to negative physical and psychological effects. And this initial insight planted a seed for me. So 15 years later, as a yoga therapy trainer, I met Carol, and her words, free the breath, immediately resonated with me. So, what makes integral breath therapy so unique and transformative for me is how clearly and comprehensively all the breathing distortions are taught and how to use them as powerful diagnostic tools. But most importantly, at its core, IBT holds a deeply compassionate heart for the human experience. And it's this very compassion that underpins IBT. So, more than just identifying issues, IBT provides an actual solution, a structured way to truly learn to breathe properly. And this complete system, from compassionate diagnosis to skillful use of tools to practical resolution, is what truly sets IBT apart. So, Carol, what do you believe are the biggest opportunities for breath work and particularly for IBT in today's world?
So, the biggest opportunities for IBT has to do with the fact that in our work, we work one on one with people. And there is something very healing about presence, the presence of the facilitator with the client. It's not something that is as deep or profound as when it's done online. Many of us suffer alone and in quiet, so to have someone present, to be a witness to our pain and to our growth is so important. Much has been written about presence in the last couple of years, and I see it happening every day around me. So um, I believe in the work with children. I've done infant work with children with birth trauma. Pre and perinatal psychology is very special to my mind and heart. And I love the fact I've worked with small children, and it's amazing. If we get to the children first before all those old ideas are totally imprinted and reinforced, we will make a big difference. It makes a big difference in our world, for them in their world, and for the parents and grandparents who love them. So, also our elderly population, we would have less COPD if there was more uh, full breathing that was taught early on, because we hold our breath when we're stressed. We push back, we move away. And, I believe in each person exists the seeds of greatness. And our mission statement is that we will hold that space for you until you can hold it for yourself. We will hold your feet to the ground and lift your heart to the heavens. We are each one of you is an each one of us is an amazing being, and so much of that has gone unnoticed or unused. Our gifts are hidden in the shadows, and I think it's time to bring them out and become the most we can be. Even if the world's in chaos, you don't have to be. Even if people around you are upset, you don't have to be, because the breath can make all the difference to your staying peaceful inside no matter what. So, Heather, what advice would you offer to those who are curious about breath work and are not really quite sure where to start or are unsure about where the work will take them?
For anyone curious about breath work but feeling a little bit hesitant, my simple advice is don't overthink it, just begin. In my over 2 decades of working with clients, I've continuously sought effective tools. The profound depth and simplicity of the breath as taught in IBT was the foundational missing piece for me as a professional, both in supporting my clients as well as in my own ongoing journey. What's truly transformative about the breath is how empowering and accessible it is. Anyone can learn to harness their breath for incredible shifts. The breath is a powerful tool that you already carry within you. Anything else you want to add to that, Carol?
We have many resources on the YouTube channel, Carol Lampman, Vimeo channel, Carol Lampman, and on our website, integrationconcepts.net. That will just give you a chance to try it out, try the breath, see how it makes you feel. Some people like to know a little bit more before they dig into doing personal work, and there's lots of resources on there, meditations using the breath, etc.
Amazing, Carol, and so true in my own experience. What is your greatest hope or vision for the future of integral breath therapy? I agree wholeheartedly.
So my vision for the future is that people of all ages will use their breath as a vehicle to reduce stress, to keep themselves calm and at peace no matter what's happening around them, and that we work with children, and that we hold a vision of a peaceful world, because it has to start with you and me. It's not going to happen out there unless we hold it. There's the 100th monkey concept that I always like very much. That there was a story about a research project where they were studying the habits of monkeys on an island. One day they would take the sweet potatoes and put them on the beach and they'd be covered with sand. And then one day, out of the blue, one of the monkeys took a piece of the sweet potato and washed it off with water and then ate it. And all the other monkeys saw that and they all started doing it, because it's certainly better than the sand being attached. Before long, a miracle happened where all the monkeys and all the other islands started washing their sweet potatoes. So, consciousness, group consciousness, is going to start with each of us to bring new world to life. And with that, I say thank you. And thank you, Heather, for being with me today. And want many of you to take advantage of all the possibilities that are there for you when you breathe. Just breathe.
Thank you so much, Carol, for sharing your passion with the breath with all of us. It's truly transformed my life and my clients' life. And I'm so grateful to be here to talk with you about that today.